Hey everyone, Mike here, and this is the Xperia SP, Sony's new mid-range smartphone, and as you'll find by the end of this video, definitely a device worthy of your attention. The review will tell you more about it, so let's get going. First though, a quick look at the box and what's inside it. Alright, we'll start our review with the aesthetics. While the SP lacks the fanciness of the Xperia Z, it is still a beautiful handset despite its more classy looks. Sony chose a co-molded aluminum body for this model and a matte plastic rear, like the one used on some of their 2012 devices. And I have to say, the SP does look and feel splendid, although the plastic cover does bend a bit when squeezed in hand. That's probably because it is removable, and behind it you'll find a micro SIM and micro SD card slots, but the battery is not user replaceable. Oh, and if you find the black phone boring, like our version here, you should know that the SP is also available in white or red. Anyway, all in all, there's little you might not like about this device. It does feel comfortable in hand, although it is a bit on the heavy side and still quite large. So you'll really need complex thumb gymnastics to cover its entire screen. But it is slightly more compact than the higher-end Android handsets of the moment, thus easier to use single-handedly. Having a look around the edges, you'll notice a volume rocker, a circular shaped power knob, and a dedicated shutter button on the right side, all easily accessible. There's also a micro USB connector on the left and a 3.5mm jack on top. On the back there's the main shooter with flash, the speaker and a noise cancelling microphone. The upper side is pretty basic. The earpiece grill sits on top, surrounded by a front-facing camera and some sensors, while on the bottom there's only the main microphone pin. No physical controls, as Sony integrates the Android commands within the screen, and this comes with pros and cons. On one side, it does eat a small strip of the canvas, on the other, the buttons do rotate and integrate with most apps, getting out of the way when not needed. And there is one more thing we should talk about before actually powering on this device. Sony kept the illumination bar from the Xperia S or P at the bottom of this phone, and this time they made it somewhat user customizable. You can change the color for various notifications from the settings, but you can only choose from a limited set of actions though. However, third-party apps like LightFlow should allow you to add notifications for other apps as well. The light bar also interacts with your music and album apps, adapting to the color of the displayed content. And of course, if you don't like it, you can turn it off, but I do find it quite useful, and since it's LED powered, it won't eat a lot of your battery either. Anyway, let's turn on this Xperia. Like the Z we tested a while ago, it does run Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean with similar apps and software tweaks. You get a cool looking unlock screen that offers you ways to quickly access the Walkman app or the camera. You also get a bunch of themes, wallpapers and widgets to choose from. The notification bar bundles some quick toggles on top. The app drawer allows you to sort apps in several different ways, and the task manager helps you quickly kill your background running applications, but also allows you to launch what Sony calls small apps, pieces of software running in an overlay window on top of your open programs. They can be quite useful, and you can download a bunch of them from Google Play in addition to the few ones already pre-installed. Besides that, Sony does bundle some of their own apps and content libraries on this device, like they do with all Xperia smartphones. And those will come in handy, especially if you're already caught inside Sony's ecosystem. Those aside, you will be glad to know that the SP is a very snappy device, and that despite being powered by an older dual-core Snapdragon S4 platform with only 1GB of RAM and Adreno 320 graphics. Yes, you will encounter some occasional stuttering when multitasking between many apps, but most of the time the SP runs very smooth, no matter if it's dealing with light tasks, games or multimedia content. Speaking of that, the SP is quite a good multimedia device. The Walkman music app is one of the most complex bundled on a phone, and the rear-mounted speaker is quite loud. Unfortunately, the headset offered in the pack is rather mediocre, so you should ditch it for something better. And then there's a nice album app on this Xperia that allows you to quickly zoom in and out between your images, plus a movie app that can easily handle all sorts of video content, including 1080p MKVs. Sony's Bravia Engine 2 technology significantly improves the multimedia experience, tweaking the contrast and colors displayed. And that's because the Xperia SP, like most other Sony smartphones these days, doesn't offer a great display. The 4.6-inch screen with 720p resolution is going to be sharp enough for most activities. The screen is also fairly bright, so we will be able to use it in strong light, but the colors are washed out and the contrast and viewing angles are not impressive. You can adjust the white balance from the settings, but that made little difference to me. Bottom point, the SP's screen is not all bad, it's just not on par with what the competitors have to offer these days, and that's a pity. Oh, another thing I should mention is that you can use the touchscreen with gloves on, as it is highly sensitive, but that doesn't really matter much to me. And then there's the main camera. Sony bundled an 8MP Exmor RS sensor on the Xperia SP, one that fails to deliver as much as it promises. I'll let you judge the pictures by yourself. I for one find them heavily processed, and that leads to noise and a loss in details, which is in fact something I've seen on the Xperia Z as well. I have another clip comparing the stills and the videos coming out of the Sony with those shot with a bunch of other similar devices, so you should definitely check that one out. Luckily, the SP does a way better job when it comes to taking video clips, and supports HDR for videos as well, something only offered by a few handsets these days. We're recording with the Sony Xperia SP, and this is just a sample. Review. On top of that, the SP does offer a pretty simple and intuitive user interface, stuffed with plenty of tweaks and features. By default, the camera launches in a smart auto mode that tends to behave alright in most cases, but you can easily switch it to manual if you want more control. Alright, with all this aside, let's talk about battery life for a bit. There's a 2300 mAh battery on the SP, non-removable though, but that's not going to be a deal breaker because the handset can easily go through the day with average use, most of the time with enough to spare for the day after as well, and that's good enough in my book. All this being said, the Sony Xperia SP is one of the most compelling mid-range smartphones of the moment. There are plenty of things to like about it, starting with the build quality and the looks, and continuing with the snappy everyday experience and long battery life. Yes, there is room for improvement when it comes to the screen and the camera, but since this is not a high-end handset, I wasn't expecting it to be perfect anyway, so I'm willing to let some pass here. Bottom point, the SP is definitely an interesting smartphone and will have a lot more chances to succeed in its class than the Z or the ZL have among the heavyweight handsets. But it does have to face some tough competitors as well, like Google's Nexus 4 or Samsung's Galaxy S3. I'll have some comparison videos coming in the next days, so stay close for those. In the meantime, I'm really looking for your opinion on the SP. Do you like it? Are you going to buy it? What do you think about its screen and camera performances? Please leave your comments below, I'll be there to reply. And with that in mind, it's time to end this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed it. You should definitely subscribe to the channel for my future updates, and of course, you should hit that thumbs up button and share this clip to your friends. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!